This is a complicated series of complicated people. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 4? Yeah, episode 4, Scavengers Reign. This is, like I said in the cold open, a pretty complex series with complex characters, complex problems. It's it's very mature, but not in the way that like a lot of adult animated series are mature. It's actually mature. It tackles a lot of emotional and mental challenges, and really looks at kind of the human condition and how it interacts given certain stimuli and circumstances and whatnot. And sometimes that can be a little difficult to watch because it's not a funny series. There may be like a tiny bit of comedy in it, but like a very tiny amount. But it's not like this super action-packed series. There's a little bit of action in there, but that's not like the focus. The focus is very clearly, very obviously on the characters and everything they're going through, everything they're thinking, everything they're doing, for better or for worse. It's, again, a very notable series that explores humanity. And like I said, sometimes that can end up being a bit much. So, I want to say right here and now that we are going to be taking a break from this series. There's 10 episodes, I believe, and I feel like a halfway point or so is going to be a good point to take a break. And depending on what happens in this episode, it's either going to be this episode or next episode. And then when we come back, I'm not going to say we're going to rush through it to get it done, but we're going to do more than one episode at a time, I feel, when we come back to this. Just because not to like necessarily just like rush through it or anything, but because it'll be easier to handle that way. If I'm doing multiple episodes at a time, I'll be able to get through it a little quicker and it'll be easier on me. I've talked about this before on the channel. I sometimes have a hard time with shows that get very real or very serious. Probably the biggest example was Doom Patrol for me, that I dropped because it got way too real for me and was putting me in a very bad state of mind. Not because the show was bad or anything. In fact, kind of the opposite. It's because it was so good that it was affecting me mentally and emotionally. It was way too good at its job of, exploring these characters, their depth and their struggles and everything, that it affected me in a negative way. And that's that's not to say anything negative against the show itself. It's just it's a personal thing more than anything. This is nowhere near that level. I want to say that right off the bat. This series is not like that. I'm going to be able to finish this. I'm going to tell you that right away. I'm just going to need a break. A break about midway through the season to get back into a good mindset to get to this again. And then I'm going to need to kind of double up on the episodes when we come back, because that will help me digest it better if I know it's not going to be as long of a trip. It's like, oh, we come back, there's like 5 or 6 episodes. oh, but I'm going to do that in like, what, 3 weeks? It's like that's a lot easier to digest than 5 or 6 weeks. It just makes it easier on me. It's a personal thing, like how my mind digests it and all. So I'm telling you right off the bat, depending on what happens in this episode, it's either going to be this episode or next episode. It's entirely dependent on that, but we are going to be taking a break. And as for what's going to be replacing this, we'll talk about that when we get to that, whether it's in the afterthoughts of this video or the next video. But we'll talk about that then. But yeah, it's just shows like this. It's like, even while being very good, because this show is great. It's super well made. It's just like, I don't know if it's just because I'm autistic or if it's just, the fact that I've struggled with depression and anxiety and stuff. I don't know exactly what it is, but whatever it is, I have a hard time, like, handling reacting to shows like that for too long. Because it affects me in a way that I don't want to be affected. And again, like I said, nowhere near the level of Doom Patrol, so it's not gonna like bring me down that bad. But I just want to make sure that I can enjoy the series without kind of dreading what's going to happen next. That's all I'm trying to say here. I don't want to like be afraid to get to another episode because of how it's going to make me feel. And so as long as I take a break and come back to it with a fresh mind and fresh expectations, I'll be able to get to it again in a few weeks, and that will be a lot better, a lot easier, a lot more handleable. Don't think that's a word, but you know what I mean. So last time, Ozzy, I'm still trying to get the names down. I don't know why. I'm not connecting with the characters enough to like memorize their names super easily. Ozzy and Levi, I believe, had to deal with a stampede and kind of learning to go with the flow, and there's definitely messaging up there about not being too uptight and whatnot. Which Ozzy very much needs to learn, and I think is going to learn by the end. We have Cayman. Cayman. I remember Cayman's name because I'm thinking of the character from Dorohedoro, whose name is Cayman as well. And so it's like a mnemonic device helping me remember his name. Cayman is going crazy. He's not handling the stress well. He already had anger issues and problems like in the past. And yeah, he's just starting to kill a bunch of aliens and feed them to his little buddy. That's not going to end well. I can already tell it's not going to end well. And then we have the other two whose names I can't remember at all. Ursula. Ursula's the girl. I remember her. Okay. I don't remember the guy's name at the moment. But she, while they were going through this like wall using this piece of an alien to get through, she ended up getting distracted. And so while he went through all the way, she, Ursula, got distracted by something happening and went to go look at it. This, like, I made a big point last time on how she was wrong for doing this, and I still stand by that. She was definitely in the wrong because she basically abandoned him. He had no idea if she was alive or not. All to go see something that, again, might help in the future. But even if it does, like, they're supposed to be working together. They're supposed to be, helping each other through this and, trying to survive here. Her going off on her own to witness this circle of life bullshit on this plant is not a good idea. It's not a smart idea. It's not helpful. It's really bad. And he had an absolute right to be upset at her for that. Like, the things she saw, again, maybe it'll help in the future. It's possible. But the thing is, she has absolutely no fucking clue if that's going to be the case. She has no way to know that. And again, even if it does help in the future, the point still stands that she abandoned someone who was relying on her to go look at something that she didn't even know what she was doing. She was just going to go look at something that caught her eye. That's kind of fucked up. That's kind of fucked up. So it's like, we're getting kind of some really interesting developments and viewpoints through these three sets of characters, I guess you could say. And I'm very curious as to where this is all going to lead to, as to what these characters are going to go through and how many, if any of them, survive. I still think Ozzy is going to survive. Whether Levi gets to the end or not, unclear, but I think Ozzy is the only one I'm really sure is going to survive. That being said, let's get into this episode, see what it has in store for us, and hopefully we get some really good shit this time. If nothing else, then some really creative visuals and stuff, as always. So yeah, let's get into this. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but I upload them on the weekend. And don't forget all the gaming content we have both on this channel and the Secondary Princess of Gaming channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day and Baldur's Gate 3 every single day on this channel, while we also have Nier Automata every Saturday on the other. And don't forget to click the link down in the description below to get to today's reaction. I redirected just due to copyright reasons. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you want to see more awesome content such as this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get on to the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this kind of gave us insight into a few things. First off, it seems like Cayman was the reason why this all happened in the first place. Why the Demeter was, destabilized and, messed up, and why they had to escape to this alien planet and the pods and everything that's happened. It seems like he changed the course, and there's more to it, clearly, but we didn't get every bit of information yet. It feels like they're continuing to build up, but Cayman seems to have, whether, purposefully or not, caused all of this to happen. And we even see through his memories that this was punctuated by the fact that when he got into the escape pod to leave, his wife, who he was having a very rocky relationship with, due to not really, giving her the attention she needed and deserved, she was left begging to be let in, and he couldn't get to her in time before the pod, blasted off. He believes she is dead. We do not know this for sure. We don't have full confirmation on this. But he believes that she is probably dead. We know that there are survivors who are in the stasis sleep pods as well, including Ozzy's potential partner. I don't know if they were actually ever together, but there was definitely interest shown before, I think in episode 2 or 3. I think it was 2, in a flashback shown there. So she could have gotten to one of those. And we see that there's others who have survived that anyway, because we meet Charlie this episode. Someone who awakens from the pod, manages to get out, and actually ends up coming upon Cayman. And Cayman wants to help him. Cayman's actually just really surprised that this person, this survivor, is there. and he's confused. He's not all right in the head, but he wants to help him. Unfortunately, the little baby alien friend that he had made is now a big salamander-like alien friend who is learning from Cayman's actions. Cayman had been, ruthlessly and just indiscriminately killing all these other aliens to feed to his friend. I'm just going to refer to the alien as his friend. And the alien's been learning from this, clearly. Because we see the alien indiscriminately, with no hesitation, kills Charlie. And this causes Cayman to realize what he's been doing and have a full-on breakdown. Which leads to the friend absorbing him into him. It's kind of unclear exactly what this means. It seems like Cayman's not dead, but it's hard to know exactly what's going on yet. Meanwhile, Ursula and Sam are kind of going through a similar path that Cayman had been. They're like actually going to the areas that Cayman had and his friend had been in. And while going through them, Sam ends up getting bitten by the tendrils from one of these pod-like alien life form things, and it takes his blood and seemingly by the end it looks like it's cloning him, which is really interesting and raises a lot of questions. But the bite is also affecting Sam. He's getting very woozy, very dizzy. He's having a tough time. I don't know if it's like full-on poison or if it's just taking... It took enough blood to where it's like he's just, not all there. Because if you've ever, gotten your blood drawn, if you've ever, donated blood, it takes a lot out of you. But while your body has to restore all that blood, you're dizzy. You're having a hard time standing and stuff. That's why they often give you, snacks and apple juice or whatnot when you donate blood, especially, when you're doing it in, high school and all. Because it helps you restore what was taken from you and helps you recover a little easier. As someone who has done this, I've been through this myself. You do get dizzy. it does take a bit out of you. So I'm wondering if it's just that. Or if there was some toxin injected into him. And if there was, is it trying to create a clone that's going to replace him? Is that the idea? I genuinely don't know. But Sam and Ursula's part of this wasn't really, super investing this episode. It was, very minimal. Though Ursula is acting a little high and mighty about certain things. Oh, we need to get going. We can't slow down. It's bitch, you're the one who, stopped to look at this, life cycle bullshit. You have no room to talk. The more interesting part comes with Sam's reaction towards Cayman. We see that he hates Cayman. It's not even just he doesn't like him or doesn't trust him. He hates him because he blames Cayman for what happened, which seems to be the case. Cayman even seemed to acknowledge that it was his doing in the flashback and all. But we see, even in the flashback, when he's going to a pod, he actually forces Cayman out of the way. It's no, you go last. You caused this. You go last. And it shows Sam's kind of hot-headedness. It's he has a right to be angry about that if Cayman really was the cause, which it does seem like that's the case. He has a right to be upset. He really does. I feel like that's a lot of Sam's character. He has a right to be upset. But the way he handled that was also a little aggro, a little more aggro than he needed to be. But you get why. Because people were, from that perspective of the time the flashback took place in, people were going to be dying. This was going to cause a lot of trouble. It could even cause, the full wipe out of their entire crew and everything. It's he had a reason to be upset, but it was a little more aggro than he perhaps needed to be. Um, Meanwhile, kind of on the opposite end, we have Ozzy, who is kind of learning to chill the fuck out and doing really good at it. She's not only starting to acknowledge that this world isn't like out to get her necessarily, but she's acknowledging Levi as their own person, seeing them as someone worthwhile in their own right. And she's just, chilling the fuck out just in general. She's calming down and allowing herself to, you know, breathe, to not be so aggressive and distrusting towards everything, and to just be better, to be nicer, to be more accepting, and it's helping her clearly. Like this, the most positive growth by far of these three groups. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how each of these stories ends up coming to an end. Because I still think Ozzy is the most likely to survive. I'm thinking Sam is now kind of 50-50 with this entire bite. And, of course, I still think Cayman's going to die. I think Ozzy's the most likely to survive. I think that Ursula possibly could. That's kind of up in the air. I don't really have a percentage-wise. Like I said, Sam is kind of 50-50. Levi, I think, is kind of 50-50 as well. And then as for others still on the Demeter, who fucking knows at this point? I don't really have any way to guess on that. But yeah. I guess we'll see what happens as we continue along with this. But that being said, I think that this feels like a good place to pause for now. This episode was a lot lighter, a lot less intense outside of Cayman's part. And I feel like this is starting to move into the next part of this series. And that next episode's probably going to start, like, because of everything that happened in this one, I feel like next episode's going to start really kicking off. Like, really kicking off. And so I think it would be a good place to put this on hold for now, since we're going to do so. Plus, this way, when we come back, we have 6 more episodes, and we can just do 3 batches of 2. I think that'll work really well. Or 2 batches of 3, whatever I'm in the mood for at that time. But we'll see when we get to that point. So, I actually, I should have had this ready already, but I don't. So, I have to get this ready to determine the replacement. Which means we are going to be spinning the wheel. So, I need to bring up the wheel. Give me a second here. Oop, hold on. Where is it? Wheel of Names. There we go. And I need to make sure we have the right one, because this is the My Choice wheel. Yes, Connie's Choice. Here we go. I need to make sure the stuff that we have already checked out is also taken off of there. And as a reminder, the stuff that is the My Choice stuff includes both stuff we have started to watch in the past, stuff we have like checked out a bit of and then like put on hold for whatever reason, and stuff that we haven't even checked out yet. So give me just a quick second here. I need to make sure I have everything for this. But while I'm doing this, yeah, I think the second half, and really more than the second half, I think starting next episode, I think this series, Scavengers Reign, is going to really kick into overdrive. It's going to start getting more intense. We're going to start having bigger developments, learning a lot more, maybe even like actually meeting new characters that aren't just there to die. Like, it was very clear the instant that he noticed it was Cayman that Charlie was going to die. It was very obvious. So I'm hoping we meet more actual characters who like actually become characters, such as Ozzy's potential partner and whatnot. And I'm really waiting to see what they do with Cayman's wife, because I think she's probably still alive. I think there's a good possibility of that. Just give me a second here. Okay. I just want to add two more to this list to replace the two that I took off. Because I took two, because on the wheel before, there was, it still showed this, Scavenger's Reign, as well as High-Rise Invasion. So I wanted to find two more things I could add to the list in place of that. And I think I'm going to go with that for the second one. Okay. So now I just need to bring this up on here. This? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Give me a second. Shrink this down so it's just the wheel. Okay. Well, maybe I want a little more than just the wheel. Because when the thing pops up saying like, oh, this is the winner, it's going to be pretty horizontal. So let's do that. Increase the size. There we go. I'm still here. I see, you can see me. But let us go over everything that is on here once again. So just as a reminder of everything that's on the list. We have Ancient Magus' Bride Season 2, Hilda Season 2, Disenchantment Season 2, Lookism, Onmyoji, Total Drama Island 2023 Season 2, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Middle Manager Tonegawa. Hold on, let me scroll down real quickly here. Blood of Zeus Season 2, Carmen Sandiego 2019, Arc the Animated Series, Onimusha, Be the Beginning, OKKO Season 3, Primal, Mayonaka Punch, Good Omens, Pokemon Horizons, Kinnikuman Perfect Origin Arc, the Grim Variations, Thermae Rome Nove, and the two new ones that I've added are Kif and Shangri-La Frontier. So a good variety of different shows to check out, a good variety of different things. Let us see what happens. What will the wheel choose for us? Blood of Zeus Season 2. Okay, so we're going to get to that starting next week. Let me close this. There we go. Yeah, so we reacted to the first season of Blood of Zeus. It was good. It wasn't perfect. It was a little slow at times. It was a little overly serious, but there was some good action, some fun stuff. It's like by the same people that made the Castlevania series, or at least some of the same people, or something like that. We'll check it out. I don't know how many episodes it is, but we'll check it out. We'll give it a chance and see how it goes. If I end up finding myself not wanting to react to any more of it, for whatever reason, we can just choose something else at that point. But yeah, so Blood of Zeus Season 2, it starts next week in this same slot, the same slot that um, Scavengers Reign was in. It's taking over for that. Gonna join Batman, Caped Crusader on Wednesdays. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, any thoughts, anything you want to add, or if there's something in the episode that I forgot to mention, please leave your comments down below to bring that up. And just as a reminder, I am not dropping Scavengers Reign. We're just taking a break from it. We'll come back to it. Maybe either right after we check out Season 2 of Blood of Zeus, or maybe after Batman, and something like that. It won't be too long. Hopefully, it won't be too long. But we will come back. We will get back to more of this. I just need to take a break from it right now, just because, like I said in the pre-thoughts, it's one of those shows that is just going to get to me and cause me some mental health issues. Not as much as Doom Patrol, but still will cause some issues if I don't take a little bit of a break from it partway through. And like I said, we'll get back, when we get back to it, we'll probably do 2 episodes at a time. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.